Welcome to this deep dive where we unpack complex ideas and really try to get to the heart of the matter. Today, we're exploring a fascinating parallel, sort of an economic echo through history. Picture this. It's the 1950s. Massive oil discovery in the Williston Basin completely changes the game in the U.S.
Right, a huge moment.
And almost at the same time, President Eisenhower gets the interstate highway system going. There's an obvious connection there, isn't there?
Absolutely. That oil needed roads, needed a way to move to fuel this whole new era of, well, mobility and prosperity.
Yeah, exactly. And just imagine if you'd had the foresight, the chance to invest in oil right then at the start of that whole revolution.
The potential for wealth building, it would have been enormous. That period really shows how a key resource plus the right infrastructure can just trigger massive economic change.
It wasn't just about filling gas tanks, was it?
Not at all. It created entire industries, reshaped how everyone lived and worked.
And that idea, that convergence of a key resource and its support structure, that brings us right to today's topic. We're exploring the idea that data centers might just be the critical infrastructure now, kind of like the highways for the new oil of our century, the data fueling artificial intelligence.
It's a strong analogy.
Think about November 2023. Suddenly, everyone's talking about Sam Altman, OpenAI. AI became mainstream in a way we hadn't seen before.
Yeah, that really put it on the map globally.
And just like crude oil needed refineries and pipelines to be useful, well, raw data needs data centers to be processed, to be crunched by AI algorithms.
It does. The data is the raw material, absolutely. But without these powerful, efficient data centers, its potential just sits there, largely untapped. They're the engines making AI work and grow.
Gary Gensler, who most people know from the finance world, he called AI the most transformative technology of our time.
Strong words.
He said in the next 5 to 12 years, it's going to fundamentally change a lot. And crucially, it's not just finance. We're talking huge shifts in healthcare, logistics, education, pretty much everywhere.
Yeah, what Gensler's highlighting is just the sheer scale of the change coming. And underpinning all of that digital transformation is the ability to store, process, analyze these, well, just massive data sets.
Which is the core job of data centers.
Exactly. So the demand for that infrastructure, it's only going one way as AI weaves itself into more and more areas.
So our mission today really is to look closely at why investing in data centers could be a smart move, especially in the context of this AI revolution. We're drawing lessons from the past, thinking about the infrastructure needs of this data-driven economy. Let's dig into that oil and data analogy a bit more. What makes it so fitting beyond just the infrastructure part?
Well, what's interesting is that in both cases, you have these resources fueling significant progress, right? Oil-powered industrialization, mass mobility, data, and AI. They have the potential to transform how we work, how we communicate, maybe even how we think.
And there's another layer too, isn't there? Like how oil created new economic giants.
Precisely. Access to oil created huge opportunities, massive companies. We're seeing something similar now with data, with the companies that harness it, and crucially, the ones providing the infrastructure.
And right at the heart of that digital infrastructure, you find the hyperscalers.
Ah, yes. Google, Amazon, Microsoft, the big ones.
They have these enormous needs for computing power, not just for their regular operations, but increasingly for their AI initiatives. Their appetite for data center capacity is just huge.
It's voracious, and their needs are often so vast they can't possibly build and manage all the infrastructure themselves. That's where these specialized data center companies come into play.
And one company that's caught our eye is Applied Digital, NASDAQ Q ticker APLD. And here's the kicker, this sort of historical irony. They operate data centers in North Dakota's Williston Basin.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the exact same region that was ground zero for the oil boom back in the 50s. You couldn't make up a more striking geographical link, could you?
That is quite a coincidence. But it highlights something critical, doesn't it? Access to reliable, potentially low-cost energy. That was key for oil extraction then, and it's absolutely vital for power-hungry data centers today.
So, okay, what's the investment case for a company like Applied Digital then? Well, first, like you said, their location. Being in these energy-rich areas gives them an edge on electricity costs, which is a major operating expense for data centers.
A huge factor, absolutely critical for profitability.
Second, they're directly tapping into that hyperscaler demand. The big cloud providers are leasing significant capacity from them. That gives them some, revenue visibility.
Right. Having those major players as clients says something about the quality and relevance of their setup.
And third, Okay, their stock took a hit recently, down about 30%, apparently due to some delays in getting new projects online.
Growing pains, perhaps?
Maybe. But it's important to note, they have secured long-term revenue contracts for 2025 and 2026. So for someone looking long-term, maybe this dip is a potential buying opportunity. A bit like how early oil stocks must have fluctuated wildly.
That's a fair point. There are risks, obviously, but the underlying growth potential tied to AI expansion is undeniable.
It's definitely worth remembering that growth in new industries is almost never a smooth, straight line up.
Exactly. Challenges, delays, they're part of the process. The key thing is to assess if the company's fundamentals and the underlying market potential still look solid for the long haul. Locking in future revenue contracts is certainly a positive sign there.
Let's make this more concrete. Think about a sector like healthcare. It's poised for massive AI transformation.
Huge potential there.
You've got the aging population, something like 69 million baby boomers driving up healthcare costs. It's a big concern. Now, AI-driven diagnostics, analyzing vast amounts of medical data, that could be crucial. Imagine, instead of relying on just one doctor's opinion, AI could potentially pool global medical knowledge for faster, maybe even more accurate diagnoses.
The impact could be immense. Analyzing medical images, predicting disease progression, personalizing treatments. It opens up incredible possibilities for better care, maybe even cost control.
But, and here's the link back, that kind of healthcare revolution, it absolutely requires incredibly powerful data center infrastructure.
No question. All that computing power, that data analysis, it all hinges on having sophisticated data centers behind it.
Implied Digital isn't the only player, of course. There are other companies building out this essential AI infrastructure, too. Names like Iris Energy, IRN, and TeraWulf, WLF, come up.
Yeah, it shows it's a growing ecosystem, different players, different strategies maybe, all trying to capitalize on this expected growth.
It's interesting to see the different approaches they take.
It is. It's a rapidly developing market, and for investors, it's really important to understand the specifics of each company, their business models, the associated risks.
Okay, so let's turn to our listeners now. If this discussion has piqued your interest, what are some potential next steps? Well, first, if Applied Digital specifically sounds interesting, you'd want to, do your homework, dig into their financials, look hard at their cash flow, their debt levels, the details of those contracts we mentioned.
Due diligence is always step one, absolutely.
Second, try to get a handle on the long-term AI adoption curve. This isn't just a fleeting trend, right? It feels more like a fundamental economic and societal shift.
Understanding that long-term context for the whole sector is crucial for assessing the potential reward and the risk.
And third, maybe consider that idea of buying the dip, but always in the context of a long-term investment horizon. Remember those early oil stock fluctuations we talked about? History doesn't repeat exactly, but sometimes it rhymes.
Doing your own research, understanding the company fundamentals, and having that clear long-term view of the sector, those are the essential pieces before making any investment decision.
So, to wrap things up today, let's circle back to where we started. Just like oil and the highway system were the catalysts for a massive transformation in America back in the 50s. It really feels like artificial intelligence and the data center infrastructure supporting it are poised to reshape the global economy right now.
It's a bold outlook, but yeah, the current trends strongly suggest the importance of data and AI is only going to increase, with really profound implications for, well, almost every part of our lives.
So here's the question we'll leave you with. Will you be among those who recognize and maybe even participate in this new infrastructure revolution early on? Or will you look back later and wonder if you missed a significant opportunity?
Food for thought.
Definitely. We encourage everyone to keep exploring this, do the research, and make informed decisions. Understanding the foundations of this shift, it might just be key to navigating the future of the economy and investing.